Hey everybody, and welcome to another segment of AstrologyAnswers.com's weekly forecast. My name is Terence. The week begins on Monday, March the 7th, with the moon in Taurus. The moon represents the public tone, the public reactions. And when it's in Taurus, once a month, the Taurus is this grounding, sensible, practical energies, as Taurus is an earth sign. Now, we start off the morning, Pacific Standard Time, with the moon in harmony with the sun. So this allows everything to seem to fall into place, be more easygoing. However, later in the day, mid-afternoon Pacific time, the moon will be in tension with restricted Saturn. That could be the moon emotionally. You may feel emotionally blocked. You might be feeling frustrated. This would only be lasting for a couple of hours, maybe 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time, but you wouldn't want to be having a heartfelt conversation. You wouldn't want to be having a business meeting, or you wouldn't be trying to interview for a job for those couple of hours, because with the moon to Saturn, you could be feeling emotionally frustrated. Now, on Tuesday, the moon goes void, of course, while it's still in Taurus. I talk about this every week. The moon is no longer making any aspects to other planets until it changes signs. So the energy is flat, it's unproductive, and it goes from 6:36 a.m. Pacific time to 10:41 a.m. When at that point, the moon goes out of earthy Taurus and goes into airy, mentally stimulating Gemini. Gemini can be restless, adaptable, needing to communicate. By mid-afternoon Pacific time, that moon in intellectual Gemini will be in harmony with social Venus and assertive Mars. That's all mid-afternoon Pacific time. Great for entertaining, for socializing, hanging out with friends, connecting with friendships. Wednesday, the moon continues in Gemini, always triggering a lot of impatience, but also this need to talk and communicate and network. By around 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, Mercury, the messenger god, Mercury is also the planet associated with Gemini. Mercury is that planet that gathers information, is always thinking and planning. Mercury has been in Aquarius, kind of idealistic, mental Aquarius for a few weeks. But as of Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, the moon goes into more intuitive, sensitive, compassionate Pisces until March the 9th. So mentally, when it was in Aquarius, it's more of an intellectual process. We're making all of our plans and decisions more analytically, more mentally. But then when the Mercury goes into Pisces, Pisces is empathetic, it's imaginative, it's sensitive. You could also say that the mental faculties are operating more from the subjective, the emotional, the heart area. Thursday, the moon in Gemini will be in conflict with confusing nebulous Neptune, peaking at 8:43 a.m. Pacific time and then lasting for a couple of hours. Not a good day or good time for any type of important communications or decisions, because emotionally, the moon, you're out of focus, you're insecure, you're confused with that Neptune energy. Plus, the moon goes void of course again for the rest of the day from 8:43 a.m. to 11:25 p.m. Pacific time. Think of moon void of course as a mini Mercury in retrograde. You don't want to start any major new projects. You don't want to make any important decisions. You just want to stay the course, stay with the routine, no, in other words, don't get off the path. Just keep going at what you're doing. So when the moon goes into Cancer at 11:25 p.m. Pacific time on Thursday, so most of the world will be waking up on Friday with the moon in Cancer. Now, Cancer is the sign ruled by the moon. So the moon is very comfortable at home, transiting through the sign of Cancer for 2.5 days once a month. One is more emotionally inclined to connect more with home and family, or to look at your home as a retreat. It's not this outgoing, extroverted social energy. It's a more nurturing, domestic, retreating kind of energies. And the moon is not making any aspects on Friday with other planets. There's not other major planetary events going on. So overall, it's a calm day. On Saturday, the moon will be in harmony with expansive, optimistic Jupiter from about 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Great for education, that's Jupiter, or traveling. Certainly your emotions, that moon, you're feeling more expansive and optimistic. Plus, the sun is in Pisces, and later in the day, the moon will be directly in harmony to the sun. But all day, it is a very comfortable, harmonious day. And with the moon in Cancer, particularly with entertaining at home, hanging out with family, any kind of domestic chores. Sunday, the sun for the day in Pisces will align with Neptune once a year for about those 24 hours, as the sun is putting a spotlight on all things Neptune. On the positive, that can be, and especially since it's Sunday, Neptune is often associated with spirituality, with inspiration, with compassion. An excellent day for charity, for volunteering. But it can also, got to be careful that you're not triggering this idealism and fantasy. Great for artists, great for attending entertainment venues, but you want to make sure that your feet are grounded while your head is in the clouds, as they say. Now, the moon on Sunday will go, starting in Cancer, it's going to go void, of course, for a short time, 7:44 a.m. to 11:32 a.m. Pacific time. Then the moon goes into fiery, extroverted Leo. See, the Cancer, when the moon's in Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's a very more reflective, sensitive, emotional, inward time overall. But when the moon goes into Leo, Leo's associated with the bright, dynamic sun. So it's ideal for socializing, for entertainment, being more physically active. It can be playful, hanging out with children, bringing out your inner child, all these qualities of Leo. And Leo loves romance. Before I sign off, I want to remind you I'm available for a one-question offer for a nominal fee. To order it, just go to the home page, astrologyanswers.com, and look for the tab labeled Advisors. Click on it, scroll down to find my name, and follow the instructions. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next week with my next segment. Until then, be safe and well.